Ever since I turned 29, my family have been asking, when will you marry?
But I do think it is a lot harder to date as a woman high earner, and especially as a Black woman.
Because honestly, it's not worth being stressed out just to have a person.
Ancestors of many of us who are Black, who were enslaved, still found ways to find and create love.
Irish, Italian, Jewish.
By the time I got there, he had already sent me the budget, so all I had to do was just eat. His priority was to get to know me on a way deeper level.
Welcome back to More to Life. Before I get into this video, like, comment, subscribe. Also, smash that notification bell just to be sure you get on my videos as soon as I release them. Let's get into this.
I've talked a lot about this before, and people didn't like it too much, like men in particular. But I do think it is a lot harder to date as a woman high earner, and especially as a Black woman high earner. And there's a couple of reasons why I think that is the case, but generally speaking, it is harder to date. And in my experience, one thing that I have noticed is that men, when they come into your sphere, especially if you're someone who's not necessarily withdrawn or or quiet per se, right? Like, you have opinions, and they don't like that, right? And some of them, they just want you to shut up and be quiet and just be behind them, and that's not me.
Where is your husband?
But also others of them, they're just jealous, and obviously it's not like they're saying to you, oh, I'm jealous, but you can see that they're jealous because they'll make snide comments, or they'll be little things along those lines. Or some of them, I wouldn't attribute this one to.
You know, she's having a hard time grasping. You seem smart. You seem like you may have done your research, heard what men have had to say, and rejected it. And you know what you labeled it off as? Oh, those darn red pill podcasts. Or those darn men expect this. And it's sad because your mother and your father, they led you the right way. They did, except for one thing. You became too independent. And you see, there's nothing wrong with that, and there isn't. There's nothing wrong with it. Only thing, when you're that way, it makes it hard to find a man. It really does. It truly does. And now you're all alone and making a lot of money. But I want to hear what you have to say.
To jealousy, but just more so they want to be kept. They'll say you're the one with all the money, and sometimes jokingly we're just okay, but that's not a funny joke if I don't know you. So I will say for those reasons it is a lot harder, but also another reason it's harder in general, I think, is because once you are making above a certain amount, you usually have a certain kind of lifestyle, and if you want to maintain that lifestyle but also include your significant other in that lifestyle, they do have to be making within that range, right? I'm not saying that I will only date someone who makes more than me. That's absolutely not the case, but you do need to be probably making, low to mid six figures, somewhere 200 or higher, in order for us to have the lifestyle that I envision myself living. And mind you, I'm still working towards the lifestyle that I want to be living. But if I like to take vacations and I like to diversify my investments and do all these different kinds of things, you need to be able to do that too, right? I'm not here just funding your lifestyle. We need to be able to do this together. And so naturally, you have to have some sort of cushion on your own before you come into my sphere, or before we can even really get along or be in the same tax bracket. But again, I wouldn't say he has to make more than me, but he does need to make close to it, or somewhere that would allow him to still be in that same area or same arena of what it is of what my lifestyle is like and what I'm hoping it to be, right? Because the goal for me is at least to build generational wealth, and you can do that from a full-time job. I work full time, but I also have significant side hustles. And yeah, it takes a lot of time, but to me, it's worth it, right? Because I'm young, I have the time, I have the energy. And then later on in life, I'm just going to be able to like chill and just live off of what the hard work that I've been putting in now. You had replied to this and also asked about like splitting expenses and different things like that. I don't believe in, like merging money or anything like that unless I am married, which I am not. And so
how old are you?
I wasn't doing any of that. In terms of like dating, I still do think a man, especially for the first few dates, needs to be paying for the dates. Like they need to be doing the courting, the courtship, all of that.
It's sad because she's an independent woman, and yeah, you make a lot. Congratulations. But she still wants a man to be traditional, and you're not even a traditional woman. You just said you will not be quiet. Well, the reason why she's like that is because she's a lawyer. So does that make her easier to get along with or harder? And she doesn't realize, she doesn't see her flaws. I think she's a pretty girl. I think she can find a man. Maybe she needs to go to some conferences or something where there's high value men there and go that route.
To kind of sum up, because this is long, dating is a lot more difficult. Oh, you had also commented about like where to meet them. I also made a video on this that some people didn't like, but in my experience, there's multiple ways to meet men who are high earners or whatever it is you want to call them. And one of the easiest and best ways is to change your environment, right? If you're only hanging around other high earners or only hanging around other professionals or entrepreneurs or people who are like-minded, that is going to become your circle of influence. That is going to become your norm. And so naturally you are going to meet those kinds of people. Like, for example, I was just at a conference and it was all attorneys. It was all big law attorneys. It was all in-house counsel, right? And I was just there and they're just around me, right? So that's an example. The weekend before I was at the Black Wealth Summit, like the same thing, right? So being very intentional about the spheres that you're putting out, putting around yourself, your environment, who you're hanging around, who you're talking to, go to conferences, go to events, like do those different types of things where you're going to be in the space to meet those kinds of people. And if you're living somewhere that doesn't allow you to be in that kind of space, then you got to figure out a way to get up and get out and go put yourself in that kind of space or make some friends genuinely, because nobody wants like the fake stuff, to be able to cultivate that kind of experience for yourself. And that's what I found most helpful.
Yeah, it's going to be a long road. Now, when I researched her, right? And I said, wait a minute. This woman is actually making $40,000 a month. Let me share the video. We should talk about it.
It's going to be a super fun video. I hesitated to do it, but why not? What I spent my money on last month as a big law attorney and business owner. So this income will include multiple sources of income because yes, I work in big law, but I also have a business and have other streams of income coming in. So generally speaking, I divide up my money into 3 categories. I do use like a budgeting thing, whatever. If you want to know more, if you have questions, just comment it down below. But the first category is my savings category. So for that one, I put $2,088 into crypto. That's crypto investments. $4,588 into the S&P 500. $9,353 towards a down payment on a home because I am going to be buying an investment property very soon. So just saving up for that down payment. $0 towards my emergency fund. My emergency fund is fully funded.
So you see here, right? She makes big money and she's going to have a long road. I'm telling you what's happened. And it's a great thing that happened to her, but it will leave you lonely. Why? Because you said you have a hard time, guys, and that's going to continue to happen to you. You're going to have a long, hard road. You're making a lot of money, but no man is going to want to deal with you. Why? Men are control freaks, right? Men want to be able to control the situation. You said it yourself. And you're a lawyer. Like, what is a man going to get with you? You gotta hope and pray and hope that you end up lucky. Like, because you say you're going to place yourself around other lawyers. Doing that, you gotta hope you smack the nail on the coffin directly with 1 or 2 shots, because you don't have much time. I can tell you're close to 30. Now, what does that usually mean, right? A woman like her, all these investments she has, different things, she's going to end up making a lot of money and single and lonely. I hope that doesn't happen for you, but most times it does. And I'm going to, in these next couple of videos, you're going to see other women who are just like her, who are making the bag. But what doesn't it do? It doesn't make a relationship.
Since I'm turning 30 next year, I've been thinking a lot about the next phase of my life and what I want to do moving forward, if I want to settle down, if I want to have kids. It's all been on my mind. So I think it's really important for us to have these conversations about Black women, specifically Black professional women who are college educated, and dating standards. It's really interesting because this is the exact same conversation that Ebony K. Williams was having with Iyanla when she asked her if she would date a bus driver. And quite honestly, I thought that was really disrespectful, because why would you ask a woman who has a thriving legal career, who's a multimillionaire, if she would date a bus driver? And I know it was supposed to be some type of gotcha moment or to humble her, because I think society at large really wants to humble Black women. I think that there's always this very vitriolic and knee-jerk reaction to try to tell Black women that you can't have any standards, specifically when these college-educated women who are doing very well for themselves kind of stand up and say that they only want to date at a certain level or above. So the discourse surrounding Clark and everything that she said about dating standards, it really hit home for me, because as someone who grew up in an upper middle class household, who has been afforded a lot of luxuries in life, I just don't see myself settling down with someone who could not give me that or more, and I shouldn't be made to feel bad about it.
We do not care.
But I do want to say that there was a big difference in the way that people talked about Ebony K. Williams and the way that they're talking about Clark, and I think it has everything to do with age. I think it's incredibly important to extend this conversation to women of all ages within our community, because all too often I think people place a level of importance on having a man rather than the quality of man that you have. And so when they see someone who's in their 50s like Ebony K. Williams saying, well, I have standards like this, but she's still single, they're like, well, obviously your standards don't work. And I just don't think that that's fair. So I love what Clark is saying, but hold that truth through your entire life, because honestly, it's not worth being stressed out just to have a person.
For my new single life checklist.
See, and I said that, and that's the same thing with that lady. She's young now. She's going to grow old and alone. Same thing with her. She's going to grow old and alone. And you know what? You'll have your money. But is that what life is like? That's the life you want to lead? And also, she's been pushed to it. And I say it's great. Her parents provided her a great life. But all she saw was her mother with her father, right? And you know what I think she should try to do? Speak to her mother. Say, Mom, really do that. How did you find Dad? Oh, you found him where? Maybe your mother doesn't make a lot of money. Probably not. Or if she does, where did she find him? Because that would be your only hope. But the way it is now, see, the mindset is different. Woman back then, if your mother was a high earner, she still knew your father was the leader of the home. And if you can't be that way, if you can't humble yourself, these are things you have to do. When you want a man to love you, you have to be very humble. If you're a high earner, humble yourself. Just like the other woman said, oh, men want you to shut up. I can't do that. That's the problem. Simple things. Something as simple as that, you can't do. That's an issue.
So I was talking about the fact that so many Black women feel discouraged.
Hold up. This is what it says. If our enslaved ancestors could find love, so can you. You can't do that. I had to correct this right away, because when I found the video, I saw that and said, our enslaved ancestors, that's all they knew were the people that were around them. And they were humble. Like, they came from very small beginnings because they all were enslaved. How could you compare that to nowadays, when we have all of these humble, independent modern women? You think it's the same? And you're a high earner. She's a doctor. She had a nerve to say this as a doctor. You gotta be kidding me. The delusion. You're a doctor and you say this?
About finding love, and particularly straight women finding love with Black men, because of how hard dating is, because there are not enough available, healthy, emotionally mature Black men, right? That's often the conversation, right? When I talk to Black women about dating and relationships, the biggest block is unavailability, all of these dating apps, all of these challenges. And I was thinking about the fact that my ancestors, the ancestors of many of us who are Black, who were enslaved, still found ways to find and create love, to create families, to create connection, despite navigating one of the most horrific systems that was intended to destroy them and to destroy love and to outlaw love. But they still made that happen. They still found a way to.
Yeah, that probably needs to happen again, right? When you have nothing, it's like when you see people poor. Like, I live in the Philippines, right? I've been out here when Duterte first came in, and I remember before, there were more people. You would see poor people in the streets living in tents. That's how it is out here. That's how it used to be. It's still like that. So they have no homes. You see the parents, they're happy, smiling. The kids, they're happy, smiling. They're married, having children. Sometimes I see that they have more children. It blows my mind. It does. Because it's like, you probably have more children than women like her would ever have. Out here living in a poor tent like that. You know those tarps they use for construction houses? Living in those with 5 kids. How about you? Think about it.
Way to create relationships and connection despite all of that trauma and all that was against them. And it made me think that if they could do it then, we can do it now.
Those days are over.
No. You can't mix delusion and you're a doctor. You guys seen that, right? Dr. 80 or something flowing across the scene there. And just because you're feeling emotional, because I can tell, because you can't find a man, she used that emotion right now and drummed up some tears. She did. But no, that you're trying to push out delusion to make yourself feel like you have hope. And you do. I'm not trying to rain on any of your parades, right? You do have hope, but you have to humble yourself. You have to. You have to come from a humble beginning. Just like the poor people, right? In the Philippines, in the tent houses, and the concrete tarps to cover their home. Humbling yourself. You never will. So it's going to be hard.
Ever since I turned 29, my family have been asking, when will you marry? The pressure is suffocating, especially when I barely have time to breathe, let alone entertain the idea of a relationship. My calendar is a testament to how jam-packed my schedule is. The only time I'm free is between the hours of 1 to 3 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. Like, how is that going to work out? Between my 9 to 5 job and hitting the gym and juggling like various side hustles, my plate is full to the brim. I often wonder, how do people even find the time to nurture relationships? I really need to know. And to top it off, my family don't seem to understand the type of guys that are out there. I don't think they fully grasp the madness that is lingering in our streets. Just walk through South London one time, and you'll have a full understanding of what is out there. You know, just the other day, my girl was telling me that she went on a dinner date with a guy that started licking the plate after he was done with the meal. Now, what possesses you to do that? But I digress. For me, while marriage is something I envision for my future, I refuse to let it define my success or my happiness. Timing is everything, and right now, it's out of my hands. So what can I do? Also, I'm being extra mindful of the impact of my choices, because do you know how easy it is to ruin your whole life by marrying the wrong person? Ask your auntie, bro. So I don't know about you, but I'm taking my sweet time. I'm trusting in God's plan to lead me to the right person when the time is right. I also recognize that his timing may not always align with my desires or expectations, but I remain in steadfast faith.
Ladies, thank me later on this. Irish, Italian, Jewish. Okay? Irish, Italian, Jewish. Thank me later. Are the most giving, generous, providing man out there. All right? All most giving man I've ever been with, okay? Honey, trust me on this. Okay? When I first met you, the Jewish man and the Irish man literally gave me $1,000 the first day I met him. The first day I met him, because we were just talking and he was just asking me questions about how am I doing, and I told him something. And then the Jewish man gave me $1,500 literally the second day I met him. Shopping on the second date.
Oh, she's a gold digger.
Gifts, Hermes gifts, bags, like investing in you, a new phone, the third date. Like, I'm serious, ladies. One man that I was with who was Irish, and our second date gave me $3,300. Second date, all right? Just do it, because you're their woman, all right? So, ladies, let's be smart out here.
You know, and the wild thing is, she's a perfect example of what I need to explain, because you can see from her, she's on the other end of the spectrum of these women, right? But you notice the same men that were giving her these gifts are the same men that the other woman should be dating. You see what's happening? What do? Men always date down, because they're not going to date someone who's heavy and high-minded like they are, right? She's poor as hell. She looks like she's walking through Brooklyn. I see jerk chicken spots as she's walking down a block. And I go, okay, I know what this is, right? I know where she is. She's probably in Flatbush. And she's walking down a block and talking about this. And I get it. Now, she's who most modern men, most of us, are trying to avoid. This woman, the gold digger. So she's the gold digger looking for a man that's going to give her the bag. And those rich men, some of them will oblige. Do they want long-term relationships with her? No. They want to have a good time. But it's much cheaper to give someone, say if you make millions of dollars a year, like the other girl was talking about her investment and retirement accounts, and I make $40,000 a month and I'm doing this, and I need a man who can do that as well. The man she needs is probably older, and that's who she could be getting. And they're going for people who don't understand money, right? The guys that got money to waste, yes, they're throwing it away on her, but not all women get this, right? Not all. They want this. And look at her. She's a black woman. Do I believe she'll be getting that? Yeah, she probably could. Because she's in New York City, and there are a lot of guys who are well off, because in New York City, living there, you're going to have money. So, but it shows. She most likely has no shot. She doesn't, because those guys aren't marrying her. And then the woman on the other side of the spectrum have no shot. So now then look at 2030 and tell me. Answer's coming. That's true. A lot more will be single and lonely.
Come with me on my first virtual date this year. This was a virtual date / Valentine's type date. So let's get into it. Firstly, he sent me an Uber to pick me up and get me to the restaurant. So it started off with him sending me flowers to my house. And then a week after, he sent me flowers again, asking me to be his Valentine. And then he ended off with the invite and the message. Mind you, I was not allowed to search up the restaurant nor search up the location. All I had to do was just arrive. When I tell y'all, the fact that I'm a local and he's the one that lives in the UK but keeps finding these restaurants that I have no clue about is just insane. By the time I got there, he had already sent me the budget, so all I had to do was just eat. As always, his priority was to get to know me on a way deeper level, so these were some of the questions that he asked.
Stop the cap.
Ask, how has some of the stuff that you've been through altered the way you see life and the way you think? Do you think that is something that's changeable? What's the real reasons behind why we get defensive? Just to understand our minds a little bit more. And then lastly, what's a traumatic thing you've been through that still hasn't healed to this day that you might not have thought about?
I'm judged because I spent $4,000 on a wedding to marry myself.
Questions were so well thought out that we was there for 2 hours just talking. Really appreciate the fact that he really wants to understand why I act the way I act. He takes the initiative to start the conversation because he knows I'm not really into that anymore. As always, I asked him if I was allowed to get another drink and he just said yes, go for it. When I say we was talking, we was on FaceTime laughing and giggling and telling each other how much we appreciate and adore each other. By the time he gave me my creme brulee, it was already time to leave because they were closing. After that, this is where he officially asked me to be his Valentine's. He booked me another Uber to go home, and that was it. If this man would ask you to be his girlfriend, would you say yes?
The delusion.
Cap. She's lying, right? Because I got to break this down. I'll tell you how I know. I did my research. I put on my detective glasses. I don't have any glasses. I don't need glasses, but I put them on for this, right? And when I first heard it, I showed my wife. I had to show my wife. And I said, babe, I want you to look at this. Now, I'm going to show you guys right now. Let's take a look. Exhibit A. I can't show this picture anymore, but I'm going to show. I searched the watch history, right? Now, you see all the videos I researched. You see the one in the middle with the 673,000 with the flowers. Now, the video, it got 673,000 views. This is a money grab. It is. Now, videos, what makes people click are the thumbnails and the titles. So look what she wrote on the thumbnail. She's talking about the man gave me this and that and that and that and that. Women are going to click it. Take a look at this. Take a look at this next picture here. This is her videos, right? Now, you see her videos where she's talking about regular things. She's not getting that many views. Then you see the next row of videos. It got the sparklers, 9,000 views. The Valentine's looking gift, 23,000 views. She does these videos all the time. Then you see the flowers on the bed, 11,000 views. And the videos below that are lower too, right? So then I looked at that, and then you take a look at this here and see who she's selling this dream to. This is why so many black women are delusional. Take a look at what they're saying. These are the comments. If he wanted to, he would. UK men, the same UK I'm living in, are you sure? Yes, she's right. Are you sure? Because it's delusion. Now take a look at this. Girl definitely say yes. A man that understands distance is never a barrier. They believe in this. She did this to grab the money from TikTok, and women believed it. Woman will fund your life to believe delusion. And these are a bunch of black women that are doing it. And then you have the same video before where a poor black woman is walking through the city saying, yeah, I got an Irish guy, this, and that. Probably true because of where she is. And then women that will take that, don't understand she's in New York, so you can find those men in New York. They're in abundance, right? And women think, oh, yeah, I got to find me one of them. And won't know where. Because they won't ask, and they'll have that thought process in the head. Y'all live on a different planet than me for real. Next one. That's so thoughtful, right? And it keeps going. Take a look at this. May this level of thoughtfulness, consideration, and being seen and understood find me expeditiously. Girlfriend, we'd marry by June. But all I seen was a bunch of videos and pictures where nobody's there. And then I saw this too. I saw a TikTok. Her TikTok has 198,000 followers, 13 million likes. Selling a dream. I commend you. You hustling. I give it up. When I see people doing things like this, I respect it. But it's foul. You're leading women to destruction.
Tell you something. This
is the new dating strategy. All right, I need you to look up.
I cannot emphasize how much truth is in that creator's TikTok there. Going to professional conferences is the dating strategy, specifically and especially for high-earning Black women. With Black women, sometimes, especially when we have several degrees, we are high earners, we're well off into our careers. Sometimes it can be hard to find quality candidates, especially if we are Black women seeking partnership with Black men. I literally just told my girlfriends this earlier in the month, just a couple of weeks ago, that this needs to be the move for all of my friends. So I'm on the board of the National Sales Network for the Dallas-Fort Worth chapter, and every year the National Sales Network has a professional conference in various cities where we have our chapters. And let me tell you, at this professional conference, not only was there networking for professional gain, but also for personal gain. So these Black men are looking for us. So my black sisters,
I gotta stop it, right? Because yes, they are looking, but not all of the Black men, because they're gonna go for women who make less, because they want more control. That's what you have to understand. You have to give up the control. But you know what happened at these events? It happened at one of those festivals. I forgot the one every woman was talking about going to, but yeah, they go to these events and it'll be 10 men and 40 women looking to date those men. So does that mean you're gonna find somebody? Most likely not. And then you gotta fit the look. Like, these men are going to get the upper echelon of beauty, and you got the chubby face. I hate to call it out, but it's true.
please look into the National Sales Network, Afrotech, the National Black MBA, dental organizations, law organizations.
Are we caring about that?
All sorts of professional organizations, even junior leagues, urban leagues, things like that in the city that you're in. Because even if even if the organization is for women, like the junior league, which I'm also a member of, a lot of those women are married and their spouses probably have single friends. So definitely get to it. Have your company invest in you. So don't go out paying, $800 for a conference ticket and show up. At least try and get your company to sponsor you if you're in the corporate space, which is what I am in. And get some enrichment, get some learning, but also get your man. So that's all I wanted to say. Have a blessed day.
Yeah, but she's spinning in circles. She doesn't know it yet because she would have a man already, right? You're talking about these ideas, but you don't have a man. But still, I'm not going to say you can't, but you can't find someone there, because you can. And I wish you luck, but it's not going to be easy. You have to do a lot of changes, and maybe going to the gym is one of them. But yeah, guys, I hate to be so foul, but I'm being real. And thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. See you next video. Peace.